When Uncle Thomas passed away, the air in our family home turned thick with a silent, unspoken dread. He had always been an enigma, a man shrouded in his own darkness, a recluse in a family that prided itself on normalcy. I was tasked with sorting through his possessions, a job that no one else seemed keen on taking. I found the dresser on the second day. It was a heavy, dark wooden piece, ornate but worn with age. Its drawers were filled with the usual detritus of a life: old clothes, knickknacks, and dusty books. But it was the bottom drawer that caught my attention. It stuck slightly as I pulled it open, revealing its hidden contents. 4 old VHS tapes, each labeled in a scrawling, almost frantic hand. The first tape was marked Experiment Number 1. I unearthed an old VCR from the attic, its exterior coated in a thick layer of dust. The tape whirred as it began to play, revealing a poorly lit room. The walls were a stark, sterile white. The only furniture, a metal table in the center. On it, various insects were arranged in meticulous rows: beetles, spiders, and creatures I couldn't name. Uncle Thomas's voice was the only sound, a monotonous drone that detailed his observations. He spoke of isolation, of observing these creatures as they were subjected to prolonged solitude. His descriptions were clinical, detached, as he noted their gradual descent into self-destruction. The tape was a window into a mind that viewed life as nothing more than a subject to be studied, devoid of empathy. Experiment number 2 was a harsh escalation. The footage revealed a maze, crafted with a cruel ingenuity. Rats scurried through its corridors, confronted with traps that were nothing short of sadistic. Blades that sliced, floors that heated suddenly to scorching temperatures, sudden drops into darkness. Uncle Thomas's commentary was different this time. There was an edge of excitement to his voice. He spoke of the rats learning, of their adaptation, or their failure and subsequent demise. The footage was interspersed with close-ups of their injuries, their pain and fear captured in harrowing detail. The tape ended with a cold, unsettling conclusion that fear and suffering were far more potent motivators than any reward. The third tape, Experiment Number 3, made my blood run cold. The camera focused on a small, enclosed space. In the center was a chair, and tied to it, a dog. Its eyes were wide with fear, its body trembling. Uncle Thomas stepped into frame for the first time, holding a syringe. He injected the dog with an unknown substance, then subjected it to a series of tortures. Loud, jarring noises, blinding lights, extremes of hot and cold. The dog's reaction ranged from pained whimpers to desperate howls. Uncle Thomas's voice was devoid of emotion as he discussed thresholds of pain and fear, the resilience of the animal spirit. The tape ended with the dog lying motionless, Uncle Thomas noting its ultimate surrender to the overwhelming stimuli. But it was the fourth tape, Experiment Number 4, that unveiled the true depth of Uncle Thomas's depravity. The footage was of a man, bound and gagged, his eyes wide with terror. Uncle Thomas stood beside him, an array of tools laid out meticulously on a nearby table: knives, pliers, hammers. What followed was a systematic exploration of human endurance. Uncle Thomas methodically inflicted pain on the man, each tool used with precise, unhurried cruelty. The sounds were the worst part. The muffled screams of the man, the wet sound of flesh being torn, the crack of bones. Uncle Thomas's voiceover was calm, almost curious, as he detailed the man's reactions, his body's responses to the inflicted agonies. The tape ended with the man's lifeless body slumped in the chair. Uncle Thomas's final note spoken in a tone that suggested satisfaction. A curiosity sated. I sat there, the screen now blank, the silence in the room oppressive. The discovery of these tapes was a revelation of horror. Uncle Thomas, a man I had known all my life, had harbored a darkness so profound, so utterly devoid of humanity. The tapes were a testament to his madness, a meticulous documentation of his descent into a realm where pain and fear were subjects of study, where life was reduced to an experiment. I was left with a burden, a decision that weighed heavily on me. The tapes were evidence of monstrous acts, of unimaginable cruelty. To reveal them would be to expose a horror that would tear our family apart, to bring the victim's suffering into the light. But to destroy them would be to erase the truth, to bury these atrocities in the shadows where they might be forgotten. In the end, I chose silence. I destroyed the tapes, burning them until nothing remained but ashes. It was a decision born of fear, of a desire to protect my family from the fallout, to shield the world from the knowledge of such evil.